world was watching. A global TV broadcast called Voices of Power was set to host an unexpected pairing. Melania Trump, poised and elegant, representing American grace. And opposite her, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young, determined leader of Burkina Faso, known for his calm resistance against Western exploitation. The set was stunning, bright, modern, cameras everywhere. The energy was thick. People expected diplomacy, courtesy, soft debate. But what they got would change everything. Just before the show began, Ibrahim stood alone backstage. A quiet producer leaned toward him and whispered, "They want to trap you. Be careful." He didn't flinch. The host, with a flashy smile, opened the show. Today we discuss U.S. support in Africa and whether it's truly help or control. Melania smiled sweetly, but her eyes were sharp. America has always uplifted Africa, she said. Ibrahim didn't respond right away. He stared at the camera. Then let's tell the truth, he said quietly. All of it. The air snapped. Melania blinked. Viewers leaned in around the world. Nobody was ready for what he would reveal next. I was in Washington, Ibrahim began slowly, voice steady. Back in 2018, I wasn't president. I was still just a soldier, but I was sent to a meeting. A quiet one. No cameras, no headlines. Melania's smile froze. The studio lights reflected off her diamond earrings, but all eyes were now on Ibrahim. He looked directly into the camera again. Your husband, Donald Trump, he told our delegation that Africa was, he paused, a place to extract, not invest. Gasps echoed across the set. He said it laughing, but we didn't. Melania's face changed. She shifted in her seat. Ibrahim continued, his voice firm but calm. He offered military aid if we gave up control of our gold reserves. He said we didn't know what to do with our land. The silence was crushing. But we did. We do. We just needed respect. The host tried to interrupt, but Ibrahim lifted one hand. He wasn't finished. He told us we were better off being led by foreign powers. He said we weren't civilized enough to handle independence. Melania's lips parted, but no sound came out. Tears welled in the eyes of one African-American audience member. The world was watching. Cliffhanger. Would Melania deny it, or break? Melania Trump tried to speak, but her lips trembled. I don't remember that, she said, her voice barely audible. Ibrahim didn't accuse. He didn't yell. He only nodded gently. I wouldn't expect you to. But we remember. Every word. The host's cue card slipped from his hand. The camera zoomed in on Melania. Her hands were now visibly shaking. The control room whispered frantically into the earpiece, but she ignored them. I need water, she said softly, but no one moved. Ibrahim leaned forward. I'm not here to humiliate anyone, he said. But truth is truth. And your husband's words still echo in villages where children drink from poisoned wells because American contracts drained our clean water to mine lithium. The audience fell into stunned silence. And still, Ibrahim added, we are called ungrateful when we stand up. A woman in the crowd started crying. Melania wiped her brow. Her face had gone pale. For the first time, the former First Lady looked small, and Ibrahim, calm as ever, looked like a mountain. The broadcast was no longer a discussion. It had become a reckoning. The camera cut to a close-up of Captain Ibrahim Traoré's calm face. There's something else, he said quietly. Something no one expected. He reached into his folder and pulled out a thick document. This, he said, holding it up, is a report from 2018, written by American officials. It outlines deals made behind closed doors, deals that never made the news. The studio went silent. Even the host looked stunned. Melania's eyes flicked nervously to the document. Her hands clenched. Ibrahim continued. This report shows how African resources, our gold, our minerals, our water, were promised in exchange for political favors. It names names. It lists promises broken. The weight of his words filled the room. Millions of people suffer because of these deals, he said. But the world never knew. Until now. The screen flashed a headline. Leaked report reveals truth about Africa's exploitation. Melania's breathing quickened. She looked like she might faint. Across the globe, viewers paused their lives. The truth was unfolding live. The host tried to break the silence. Melania, do you have a response? Melania swallowed hard, her voice shaky. I don't know what to say. She glanced at the camera, then at Ibrahim. I believe in America's goodwill, she said finally. We want to help, not harm. But Ibrahim's eyes held steady. Help must come with respect and honesty. His words hit like a hammer. Behind the scenes, producers whispered urgently. The broadcast had become unpredictable. Melania's hands trembled as she clasped them tightly. She was caught between loyalty to her husband and the undeniable truth being revealed. The audience felt the tension. Comments exploded on social media. Melania is breaking, one viewer wrote. Ibrahim's calm courage is inspiring. A young mother watched with tears in her eyes, thinking of her children's future. The studio lights dimmed slightly, as if the entire world was holding its breath. Backstage, a young girl named Amina waited nervously. She was the daughter of one of Ibrahim's closest advisors. Amina had heard whispers about the broadcast's explosive revelations. She worried about what the world would think. Suddenly, her phone buzzed with messages. Clips from the live show were already trending. Mom, she whispered into the phone, do you think the truth will change things? Her mother's voice was calm but firm. Truth is the first step, Amina. Courage like Ibrahim's opens doors for a better tomorrow. Amina wiped her eyes. She thought about her future, about children in her village, about clean water in schools. On the other side of the world, millions were watching the same scene unfold, moved by the bravery of one man standing for his people. The broadcast was no longer just a debate. It was becoming a moment that might change history, and it had only just begun. The studio lights felt heavier now, the air thick with tension as the broadcast entered its third hour. Millions of eyes watched, hearts pounding. Captain Ibrahim Traoré sat silently for a moment, gathering his thoughts. He knew what was coming next would shake the world. Melania Trump, her face pale, glanced sideways at him, eyes wide with fear. For the first time, the powerful facade cracked. Ibrahim leaned forward, his voice calm but resolute. There is one truth no one has dared speak, until now. The camera zoomed in slowly on Melania's face. A soft gasp escaped her lips. This truth, Ibrahim continued, concerns the very foundation of international relations between Africa and America during Donald Trump's presidency. The host swallowed hard, sensing history was unfolding live. Viewers held their breath, thousands already streaming on social media waiting for the bombshell. Ibrahim's eyes locked with the camera, steady and fearless. Donald Trump, during secret meetings, made promises to African leaders that were never meant to be kept. The silence was deafening. The studio seemed to hold its breath. Ibrahim reached into his briefcase and pulled out a small, worn notebook. The cover was faded, edges bent. This, he said, is a notebook kept by an insider during those meetings. It records every word, every promise. He flipped it open, revealing handwritten notes in English and French. On one page, Ibrahim explained, Trump assured African leaders that America would support their development projects fully. But behind closed doors, the true plan was different. He read aloud a line. Ensure control of resources. Keep governments dependent. Melania's hand trembled slightly. Her eyes darted away. Ibrahim looked at her gently. This is why many African nations suffer still, because promises were shadows and reality was chains. The host interrupted. How did you get this? Ibrahim smiled faintly. From those brave enough to speak the truth. From those who refused to be silenced. Across the globe, viewers wiped tears. This was no ordinary broadcast. It was a call to justice. Melania Trump's composure shattered. Her breath hitched, tears pooling in her eyes. I never knew, she whispered, voice cracking. She glanced at the floor, then at Ibrahim, who met her gaze with compassion. I didn't ask, she said, voice breaking, because I wanted to believe in good, in hope. The host softened his tone. Melania, what would you say to those affected? She paused, struggling. I'm sorry. Truly sorry if anyone was hurt. The studio was quiet, except for the soft hum of cameras. Ibrahim nodded. Apologies are a start, but truth and action must follow. The audience was visibly moved. A mother in Nairobi wept openly, thinking of her children. In the broadcast room, even the crew felt the weight of the moment. The world had seen not just a revelation, but a human moment of reckoning. And the story was far from over. The atmosphere in the studio was tense. Captain Ibrahim Traoré reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small voice recorder. This, he said calmly, holds a secret conversation few have heard. He pressed play. The room fell silent as a low, clear voice, unmistakably Donald Trump's, echoed through the speakers. We want Africa's resources at any cost, the recording said. We can't let them gain full control. Melania's eyes widened in shock. She covered her mouth, barely able to breathe. Ibrahim looked steadily at the camera. This tape reveals the true intentions behind years of broken promises. Viewers around the world gasped. The studio's usual hum was replaced by stunned silence. The host asked quietly, How did you obtain this? Ibrahim's voice softened. From a whistleblower who believed truth is stronger than fear. Millions watched the moment unfold, the tension unbearable. The line between diplomacy and deception was now exposed for all to see. Backstage, Melania sat alone, trembling. The image on the screen showed her face, pale and distraught. She had lived in the shadow of power, but this revelation cut deeper than she expected. Her mind raced with memories of private conversations, of hopes for peace she had once believed in. I never wanted this, she whispered to herself. I wanted to believe in better. A close aide approached, gently placing a hand on her shoulder. You're not alone, the aide said softly. Many want to change this story. Melania nodded, tears spilling freely now. Meanwhile, Ibrahim prepared to return to the set. His heart was heavy, but his resolve was unwavering. He was fighting for millions whose voices had been silenced too long. The world was watching, and so was history. Back on air, Ibrahim's voice rang clear and steady. We stand at a crossroads. What happens now will shape generations. He looked directly into the camera. We cannot erase the past, but we can change the future. Melania, still shaken, nodded slowly. She seemed to understand the weight of his words. The host broke the silence. What do you want people to take from this? Ibrahim smiled faintly. Hope, courage, the belief that truth can set us free. As the broadcast ended, social media exploded. Millions shared the clip. Many moved to tears. Across the globe, people whispered the same thing. This moment changed everything. The seeds of change had been planted. The real journey was just beginning. Outside the studio, news of the broadcast spread like wildfire. In small villages across Burkina Faso, families gathered around radios and phones, listening to every word. Children's faces were lit by the glow of screens, their eyes wide with wonder and hope. Elders wept quietly, remembering years of struggle, of promises broken by distant powers. Ibrahim's words echoed in their hearts. Truth and respect are the foundation of freedom. For many, this was the first time they felt seen, not as a forgotten land, but as people worthy of dignity. In the capital, a mother hugged her son tightly. "This man speaks for us," she said softly. "He carries our pain and our dreams." Meanwhile, in luxurious homes thousands of miles away, the broadcast was replayed over and over. Melania Trump watched alone, tears streaming down her cheeks. She whispered, "How did it come to this?" The world had changed that day. The story of Africa's silent sorrow was finally told, loud and clear. Days later, an unexpected message arrived at Ibrahim's office. A former advisor to Donald Trump requested a private meeting. The man, once silent, now wanted to speak. "I've seen too much," he said quietly. "The truth must come out, no matter the cost." Together they planned a series of revelations, documents, recordings, testimonies that would prove beyond doubt the reality of those dark dealings. Ibrahim's heart swelled with cautious hope. Change was no longer a dream. It was a movement. But with hope came danger. Enemies lurked in shadows, ready to silence the truth again. Still, Ibrahim stood firm. His fight was for the children who deserved a better tomorrow. Far from the chaos, Melania Trump made a choice. She began reaching out to African leaders, quietly offering support for humanitarian projects. Behind closed doors, she admitted her regrets. "I was blinded by loyalty," she confessed to a trusted aide. "But now I see the pain, and I want to help heal it." Her efforts were cautious but sincere. Ibrahim heard of this and felt a flicker of hope. Maybe, he thought, the power of truth could open even the most closed hearts. The world was watching, and so was history. A new chapter was beginning, not just for politics, but for humanity. The clip of Ibrahim's revelation went viral overnight. Millions watched the moment Melania gasped in disbelief. News outlets replayed it again and again. Social media exploded with tears, shock, and hope. People shared stories of their own struggles, of silent pain finally given a voice. In classrooms, children learned about courage and truth. In homes, families discussed what real leadership means. Even distant leaders could no longer ignore the call for justice. Ibrahim's calm courage had awakened a global conversation, one filled with empathy and determination. The world was changing. Ibrahim stood before a crowd in Ouagadougou, the capital of Burkina Faso. His voice was steady, but his heart full. "We owe it to our children to build a better world," he said. "We must rise with truth, justice, and respect for all." Tears glistened in the eyes of many. They saw in him a leader who fought not just for power, but for people. And far away, Melania quietly supported initiatives to heal old wounds. Hope blossomed where once there was silence. The broadcast had ended, but its impact lived on. Ibrahim's truth shook walls, hearts, and minds. He showed the world that honesty and dignity can change history. His courage inspired millions to stand for what is right. Melania's gasp was a symbol, not of weakness, but of awakening. And the legacy left behind was not one of silence, but of courage to face the truth. This story is not just about the past. It's about the power of truth to shape a brighter future for all. If this story moved you, if Ibrahim's courage touched your heart, please hit like, subscribe, and comment below. Tell us what part made you feel strongest. Your voice matters. Let's spread hope and truth together. Thank you for watching. And remember, true courage always changes the world.